guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who do not know, I am Allie, and today's video is going to be my first coffee chat with you guys. I'm super excited to do this video. So there's a lot I want to talk to you guys about today, but sorry, my sweatshirt's in the view that I had on. I wanted to start off with something that I feel very on my heart that I need to talk about. I talked about it a lot when it first happened, but now I'm a year out of this, and I feel like it needs, sorry, I just want to adjust my camera. I feel like it needs to be addressed again. I'm going to warn you that this is going to make me extremely emotional. So if you don't want to watch me, like, be in tears, you know, don't watch the video. So as some of you may know, I am a daughter of a military veteran who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Obviously, if you don't know what today is a year of the Afghanistan withdrawal. I want to start out by saying this because I feel like I need to say this and I need to adjust this again. I'm so sorry. I feel like I need to say this again to my Afghan vets. Somebody who I follow on TikTok and Instagram said it best when this happened, and I feel like I need to say this again. Afghan vets, you did your job while you were over there. You did what you were supposed to do. None of this is on you at all. And this is coming from somebody who felt that and when it first happened, that it didn't feel like he did his job. And the reality is that he did do his job. It's just everyone else is to blame for what happened. And I want to start off by saying this as well. I'm not here to debate. It is not my place to say if we should have ever been there in the first place. It's not my place to say if we should go back. It's not. As somebody who witnessed this firsthand and watched what the withdrawal did to my father and his emotions, I cannot in good conscience say either one. 20 years is a long time. Let's just call that what it is. A long time. I'll be frank and honest with you. I've always struggled with the Afghanistan war because in the beginning, I was full, like, in support of it. But also the mission was clear in my mind. Osama bin Laden was who we were going for, and we got him. I don't really know what the mission was after that, and I've never really been told what the mission was. And I've struggled with my relationship with the military for a very long time, and they're not perfect and they're never going to be perfect. My dad missed a lot when it came to me, and I know it's part of the job and what he signed up for and all the things, but I think sometimes people forget that the families didn't sign up for this. And that at 16, when my father was in a war zone, and I had just turned 16, it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair at all. I was angry. I've probably always been a little bit angry. Because, again, my dad missed a lot, and it just felt like his deployments fell on everything with me a lot more than my sister. So with that being said, this is already turning emotional. when the withdrawal happened, I felt, just hang on. Sorry, I wanted to regain composure here. So when the withdrawal happened, I saw it differently than the rest of the world. I feel like I did. I don't know if that's true, but I just felt it differently. I felt that my dad's job wasn't enough. The sacrifices that me and my family made was made in vain. I felt like we screwed up, really. 110%. The withdrawal in Afghanistan was a complete and utter screw up. Was it our soldiers' fault? No, because they follow orders. I think everyone also forgets that too, is that they follow orders. They do as they're told. Like, period. They don't get to opt out of it just because Biden's president, or opt out of it just because Trump's president. Like, it doesn't work like that. They do as they're told. And I'm still very, very angry about the withdrawal. I don't feel like we have answers, and I don't feel like we put ourselves in a situation to lose 13 men for no reason. We could have done it in a better way, and I don't give a crap what anyone says. That withdrawal was botched, was a strict surrender, and that's the end of it. You mean to tell me that you couldn't, and you still have Americans, like, Americans are still there, and we're just past it. And that is extremely frustrating for me. I don't feel like General, whatever the heck his name is, answered questions enough. I don't think Biden has been asked directly the questions that need to be answered, and he needs to be able to answer them. I am so sick and tired of, like, I don't take this question. No. You've got to be, like, I don't think people understand that we are, like, literally back to square one with Afghanistan. And that's not to say that I know full as day, because my father has said this many times to me since this happened. There was no way that Afghanistan, a tribal area, was going to go full democracy. I understand that, okay? I want to say I understand that. But we could have done better. We left our allies, we left Americans, and we left Afghan people who helped us, that we promised safe passage. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to cross the border. I'm not saying that. Before any Republican comes for me as a Republican, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we left people behind. And we left them there to the hands of the Taliban that hate Americans. They yell death to America in the streets. I'm sorry. I'm trying to understand where we thought this was a good idea. The world was watching us, and they saw what happened and what the reality of this is. It's extremely frustrating for me as a military daughter to see not so much that the withdrawal happened. I want to clarify that. We needed out of there. That is not a secret. That is not a secret. But like Dan Crenshaw said the other day, and I know some Republicans don't like him, but I'm just going to use him when this first happened. There was no harm in leaving a intelligence, or whatever you want to call it, like a small thing there. We've done that in other countries. Just want to say that. My biggest issue with the Afghanistan withdrawal has been with the lack of accountability for the president, the State Department, and the generals. I understand fully that the Taliban was going to take back over. I get that. But we could have gotten Americans out. 13 men and women did not need to die because they couldn't get it right. And I understand that it could have happened either way. I get that, I do. But 13 people were dead. And I'm sorry, Mr. President, I have an issue with you. I do not care what is so pressing. I understand that you run the country, and I understand that you have meetings, and you have this and you have that. The complete and utter disrespect you showed by looking at your watch as those 13 men that you will let something happen to them by doing your botched withdrawal. I don't care. I really don't. I am so sick and tired. And you know what's frustrating for me? Extremely frustrating is that I had seen a post about Joe Biden's interaction with one of these 13 families from this withdrawal. And he made it about his son, Beau. Listen, I am not saying he doesn't have a right to grieve. I am not saying that he can't miss his son. But as somebody who has lived through this, but not in the same capacity because he didn't die in a war zone, you should have literal respect for the fact that their son just put their life on the line so you could botch a withdrawal. I do not care. I do not care. We screwed up so royally with this. And the fact that we're still sitting here with no questions and that he bombed an innocent civilians in the process of all this to try to recorrect himself when it first happened. Joe Biden, I do not care. Answer the question as to what exactly led to this. We could have done it differently. The generals need to be held accountable, and so does everyone else. And I am so tired of hearing them say, well, I told him. Obviously, he didn't listen. And it's frustrating, okay? It's extremely frustrating to watch this. It's extremely frustrating to have it be a year of withdrawal. I don't think anyone understands how frustrating it is for me, because it just feels like I lost a year with my father. A year with my father for them to do this. My dad lost friends. Like, people died over there, and we're just gonna pretend that the way we ended things is okay. It's just not. I'm sorry, it's just not. We showed weakness. I'm not saying that we weren't supposed to get out of there, but we could have done a hell of a different job. Okay, tangent over. We're going to talk about something else now. I promise I'm not going to get political any further. And I also want to say that I'm not just frustrated with Democrats in this regard. I am frustrated with Republicans. I am frustrated with George W. Bush. I am frustrated with Obama. I am somewhat frustrated with Trump right now, not going to lie, and frustrated with Joe Biden, because we could have ended this 20-year war better. We could have. And I also want to say one more thing. This might get me in trouble. But we also have a bigger issue than just Afghanistan, because we have not fully punished people for housing the terrorists that did 9/11. I haven't seen any change in that relationship, but I understand that we need allies and I understand that we need friends, but we also need to address the elephant in the room that they housed terrorists. Okay, that spiel is done. I'm done. But I just wanted to make it represent that I'm angry at 4 presidents for this war, not just one. And I want to say also that I was all for George W. Bush going to war after 9/11. Trust and believe I understood the reality of the situation, but I also understood what that meant for me. That meant when the Afghanistan war started, my father could be deployed, and same with Iraq. I knew the reality. That doesn't mean it didn't suck, okay? And I'm so sick and tired of everyone telling me that, like, oh, he signed up for this. No, I understand that he signed up for it, but that doesn't make it suck any less, okay? Okay. Moving on to some other topics. We're not going to do any more political talk in this video, because I do plan on doing a whole cup of coffee on my political beliefs and etc. if anyone's interested in that. So we're going to talk about now the book. Well, no, we're not going to do the book. Okay, So the book we're gonna save for another cup of coffee because I don't want to like deal with the nonsense of that. So yeah, so my goodness, I really need to map this out better in like my head of like how I want to talk about things, because I just went on a tangent for like 10 minutes and now I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. So we're gonna talk about, okay, so I talked a little bit about my green beauty in a different video, so I'm not gonna do that. Guys, I'm just so emotional today that it's like making my ability to make a video very difficult, but I'm trying to just plug through it because I promised you guys a culty cup of coffee. I'm thinking of Amanda Ray because her video is tonight that I'm super, super excited for. So speaking of cults, I know, tangent. Hold on 1 minute. So speaking of cults, I want to talk to you guys about one of my favorite books that I've read recently, and like kind of documentaries that I've watched in regards to this, because I'm like really obsessed with it, and I'm obsessed with their podcast, which leads me to like a shameless plug soon. If I ever get to sit down with these human beings in regards to like things, I will be fully like on board with that. And I'm gonna explain kind of like how that has shifted how that shifted to like kind of my story. A little bit of a story that I've never shared with anyone. So I'm gonna explain that. So I watched the HBO documentary first so it's called The Vow on HBO Max, and there's supposed to be a season 2, which I need to re-upload my subscription. I need to renew my subscription so I can watch that. But I watched it all about NXIVM. I had heard about NXIVM from my from kind of like following Indian Oxenberg's story, which I just want to say that if I ever get to meet her, she's like literally my favorite human being. I watched her documentary too, but like, oh my goodness, like I really feel like those documentaries helped me through like my situation, and I'm gonna kind of explain it. This is the first time I've ever talked about it publicly, so I'm like super nervous about this, so please like just be kind to me. Thanks. So I really I watched that and it was so good. Like in the beginning, I'm gonna be honest, I was a little frustrated with like Mark Vicente, but after like going through the whole thing, like I fully love him now. But in the beginning I was frustrated because I guess I was frustrated because I was seeing a lot of myself in that based off of my story, because I know what it's like to be around somebody that you love and care about and realizing that they're telling you what you believe is like complete utter crap, like basically, and it sends you into a spiral. Again, I fully understand. So I watched The Vow, and then I read Sarah's book. Fell in love with Sarah, by the way, from her book. Like literally fell in love with her, and then I realized her and her husband have a podcast and fell in love with the both of them. To be honest with you, like Nippy says a lot of like what I wish I could say out loud to certain people, but I'm not allowed to say that because of the fact that like I get a lot of heat for being kind of in for the situation that I was like, that I kind of was in, and especially in my home I get a lot of heat for it, so like I can't say certain things. So I just know that like he says what some of the things that I want to say out loud that I just say in my head. And I really, really relate to Sarah because I've always had like a love for like yoga, and like, which kind of brings me to like my story. But then I watched Seduced. Was it Seduced? Is it called Seduced? I don't remember, but I'll like leave it down below. But like Indian Oxenberg's story, and that's when it like hit me that like I was in a similar situation, and I never thought of it like that because I I saw it differently. So I mentioned in my 10 things that I am not buying anymore, that I still using Beachbody, but was struggling with Beachbody. So I guess I'm just gonna let the cat out of the bag here. I want to preface this by saying I'm not anti-MLM in any capacity. I do believe that for some people it could work. I'm not saying that it's not foreseeable. My problem is with the culture of Beachbody. Is kind of where I fell into a cult-like behavior, I guess you could say. I'm not really like a medical professional, so I can't I'm not a psychiatrist, I guess, and I can't really say it. So I can't really like diagnose myself. So I had done Beachbody for years before having my son, at least like 4. And then I had my son and I fell into a trap of wanting to be home with my son every day and wanting to be a stay-at-home mom, but wanting to work. And part of me still wants that life, but I don't know if that's foreseeable right now, like having a career that allows me to be home. I love education, but I don't know if that's the route I really want to go to anymore. Because I'm starting to feel like it's very restricting and very like you have to do this, this, and this as you're told, or it's not gonna work. So that's like a big part of like, okay, so like I had fallen into that trap. So when the girl who was coaching me offered me to make like $500 in a month, that was what I was making at my part-time job. So I quit my part-time job just to see if I could hit $500. And I did hit $500. Did I hit $500 consistently every month? No. Did I hit $500 my first month? Yes. So, but when I hit that $500, I was like, oh, I can totally do this. I can make this my career and like be at home for my kid and make my own schedule. I became obsessed with it, but it led me down the path of my eating disorder again. And it was from their eating programs, to be truthfully honest with you. Counting calories like didn't work for me. And the only other program they have was for weight loss. And I wasn't looking to lose weight, but I wanted to Beachbody has You Are Proof the product works. And I became a different human being to meet this quota. I went into debt. Like my debt is from trying to keep up with Beachbody and getting everyone I can like signed up, paying for this person, that person. Like it was out of control for me. But like even now, like I still struggle with this situation because I love their workouts. But for a single mom who wants to make money and feels like she is never going to be able to be there for her kid, like that was my like situation, and I was trying so hard. It all came to a head, and I was buying new programs left and right, proof that the product works. I was buying Shakeology, which is $99 a month, like every single month. Like I was hitting my PV, which is my personal volume goal, every single month. But I was barely making like $50 at that point. Like I was throwing money into this business that wasn't giving me anything. Like I was helping people, and that was great. And I loved having the like challenge groups. I loved the community. The community was like the reason for the pull. But when you stop making money and you're struggling to keep your head above water, you start to feel like you're you're drowning. And I never thought of Beachbody as like it's in my mind it was a solution, not a problem. But over these last couple of months, with finding Fit52 app, which is Carrie Underwood's app to like work out, and like not having to spend money on program after program after program after program to see results, was great. But I've always loved the Beachbody yoga studio. Like, yoga is like one of my favorite workouts to do. So I'm still kind of in this struggle with it. But like, I had seen a lot of like my behavior becoming someone I didn't recognize. And, you know, I feel like it kind of came in at a time where I was struggling with my faith as well. For those of you who do not know, I'm a Christian, but I broke like the number one rule in my life, number one rule in my house, which was you don't have a child out of wedlock. Like, that's always been ingrained in me and my sister. And to have it become the thing, it was really, really hard. I started questioning my faith. I started questioning if I was making the right decisions with my life. I was questioning everything. I even like flipped like my political beliefs in the last 2 years. Like, I would say I've just recently come into my conservative values and really like my political affiliation. I always like voted liberal, ironically, and I always voted because of the fact that, truthfully, like most liberals run on like not going to war. So I was like, this is my solution to not have my father deployed. Like, that's how my thought process went with that. Obviously, my dad went to Afghanistan under Obama. That didn't work out too well. But I was questioning my faith and questioning like everything. I was doing a lot of soul searching, and Beachbody fell into my lap. And I thought for like 100% fact, it was the solution to my problems and solution to everything. And it really wasn't. And now that I'm on like 6 months of no Beachbody, I'm feeling great. I'm loving Fit52. I'm doing more of an intuitive eating, which has been great for my recovery because, again, like counting the calories and all of that like really affected like I already had an eating disorder. It triggered everything back, and I went back to like being 88 pounds, which is not what I wanted to do at all. It's really been an interesting thing. I feel like a Rubik's Cube sometimes, where I think I know where I'm headed and I'm not. And within this year has kind of been like me talking about education and trying to figure out where I really belong in regards to education. I love education and I want to be in education in some capacity, but I don't know if that necessarily means the classroom. And I'm learning that it's okay. I'm on this like journey of self-discovery at 30. Started working with a life coach who's been amazing. I've been in therapy. It's just everything's been really, really good. And I don't know if quitting Beachbody was really in the was really like the turning point or like the wake up call, but it really was. And I want to like give this plug to like Sarah and Nippy's podcast because I don't usually do this, but a big like eye-opening episode was not only watching the LuLaRoe documentary, I totally forget what it's called right now on Amazon Prime, but also like listening to the episode with Loretta. Like, she really just like opened my eyes to like Beachbody. Like, I was already in deep at that point, but like getting myself out of that has really been helpful. And I've realized now that I have a problem with wanting to belong and wanting to fit in. And I think that's why I gravitated towards Beachbody so hard, was I wanted the community. And I'm realizing now that that's not the case. And it's just been really, really interesting. So this is my first coffee chat. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a big thumbs up if you do. If you're not already subscribed, please go and subscribe today. And I will see you guys in the next video and the next Sunday for another coffee chat.